Keren Baker, and I'm with you today to show you how to make an open up window scene using the latest craft kit, which is number 14. This is so much fun. If you like creating scenes, if you like doing detailed work, if you like doing interactive cards, this is the kit for you. And you can use so many little elements from the kit. You can make so many different ideas. Now, I decided that I would try and do something to encourage the recipient to open up and to explore the card. So I've done two. I've done this one here, which will obviously start off closed with elastic. And as you open up the shutters, you've got a cute little window scene. And then as you open that up, you've got a gorgeous little dog and it says, "Sorry to hear you're feeling rough." But you could have this for so many different occasions. If you want to go Christmas, this one has a lovely little wreath on, and again we open it up and we've got a little dog and a Christmas tree, and we've got to get a little Christmas sentiment to put in there. So let's get started. Okay, to get started we are going to be using the frame and the shutters and the little curtain elements. You can see them on here. This is the window. This is the shutters, and also the window curtain treatment rather is this. Now, the best materials for using, I mean, you could obviously use fabric if you really wanted to, but if you have a look at my other card, you can see that I've used some patterned paper, double-sided paper, nice and simple, but you're not going to be able to see the patterning on here. If you want to do that, you're just going to have to get a piece of card. When you've die cut it, you'll see that there are some little bits of the detail showing through. If you don't want to put it through with your embossing plate on, all you need to do, just pop it on like this and just rub with your ball tool like that. Give it a good rub and you're going to end up being able to see much more clearly. So to start off with, we need to provide our little hinges that we're going to be opening and closing with. So what I've done is got a piece of card, this is about 1.5 centimeters nearly, and just scored it and folded it, and that's going to give us our little hinge. So we need to just get a bit of glue, and we need to make sure that the hinge, if the glue will behave himself, there we go, just pop the glue on there. We just need to make sure that the hinge doesn't show past the window edge. Can you see there? I put so much glue on, it's appearing on the edges of my windows. Right, let's just sort that. So I've got my little hinge there. And then all I would need to do is just trim it off. So we've got our basic hinge. Now you would want to leave that to dry, give it a press, just make sure that it's all good, because, and if you do it both ways, so if you fold it, don't do this while you've just glued it. I'll show you on the other one. If you fold it on both ways, it just makes the back and forth of folding and unfolding much easier. So I've got my glued part. Okay, I need to put a little bit more glue for this curtain here. And then we're just going to put the curtains on the back of the window so you can see the curtain sticking through. I mean, the great thing about this kit, it is so versatile. I mean, you could put little Roman blinds. There's so much that you could do there. It really is good fun to play with. If you like detailed work, you're going to love this kit. So I'm going to put the other ones on. Add a little bit more glue there. There we go. And then you're going to want to leave that to dry. This type of satin mirror, which is Craft Perfect card, shows up the detail really, really well. So we're going to have to leave that to dry because it's not behaving itself. And then we'll go on to the next part. Now we need to do the hinges on the shutters. So I've done exactly the same process again, just a slightly less wide piece of the same colour. If it's the same colour, then you're not going to be able to see it so much when you're opening and closing. So that's a good tip. So just make sure as well when you're doing it, you put them on the opposite sides. So we're going to put a bit more glue along the edges, and then we're going to stick it down, making sure that it doesn't stick up above the little heart area, and also that it doesn't stand proud beyond the edge of the shutter, so that when you're looking at it from the top, you can't actually see the hinge so much. It just makes for a neater card. Then all we need to do is just trim this off. Right, so we've got our shutters and we've got our window. Now let's build in the rest of the card. So we'll get our base part. Now this, you could use anything, any pattern paper or solid paper, solid cardstock. I like it because obviously the more dimension, the more pattern you've got, the more interesting it is, and the more people are going to want to open up the little different elements. I decided, because this was a Christmas one, I would add a little Christmas tree, because I'm going to put a little dog under here. So just cut out a simple triangle shape. You don't need a die for this, you can just cut it out, and a little bit of brown for the trunk. And then just to make the lights, I've just used some of the different Nouveau drops, some of the vintage drops and some of the crystal drops. So any of those that you've got at home, you can use those. So leave those to dry, and then for the top I put one of the little sunset stars. So that's what I've done to create that. So I've popped that on there. Now the next element that you're going to want to create is the dog. So let me just bring the little dog in. Now as we showed you at the beginning, it's got all the details on the back. This comes with the kit. So I know that if I want to create the little dog, I know which little bits to get. And you'll find most of them on this sheet. You can see here, these little bits here are the little detailed parts of the face. That's the face. You've got the paws and sort of the whiskery bits and the snout. So everything is on there ready for you to make up. So you can see here, I've got the basic bit. I've got this little bit here, which is whiskers, and I've just coloured in the little nose with one of the Nouveau alcohol pens. And then for the eyebrows, again, I did the trick where I just put my little die cut back into the shape, use your ball tool, rub it over. That will give you the detail, which is his little eyebrows. And then all I did was get one of the Aquaflow pens. This is the cinnamon stick one. And then just gently stroked a bit of the colour over. And that gives his little eyebrows a bit of definition. So then all you would do is pop it all together, pop that on there. I just used a little fine liner to put the little dots for the eyes, and then you've got the little paws. Okay, if he's the big dog, then this is his body here that you would use. And for him, with the little paws hanging over a table or a wall or whatever you want it to be, you're going to use the two little separate paws. So that's how I created this. Now I've left that blank. You could put a Christmas message on. There's some fabulous messages in with the stamp set, which is the one that I used in my other card. So you can use all the different types of sentiment here, and you've got some lovely little details that you can add to your scene. But I'm going to have this as a Christmas card, so I'm not going to pop those on. So this is going to be going onto our tree. So it looks like he's inside the house. I mean, if you wanted to, you could have him over a sofa. Instead of a Christmas tree, you could have a roaring fire. You know, as your imagination starts to develop with this, you'll just have so many brilliant ideas. So there's our little dog on our lovely Christmas tree. And let's go on to the next bit. Obviously I could add, there's a little hair bow. You could add one of the little hearts from the shutters, because what we need to do, which I didn't say before, is you need to keep all of the hearts that are die cut out of here, because we're going to use those for a wreath. So we're on to the next bit. Let's just clear away so you can see. So we've got our little bit here. Now we need, I've just done a base card. I've just used it slightly bigger than the largest die, which is this one. So I've just cut some pattern paper out with that. And then we're going to want to position our little guy. I mean, even like that, that would be a really cute little card, even without all the window and the shutters. So what we're going to need to do next is now build it up. So the first thing to go on is going to be the window. Now, if I show you my previous card, I thought to avoid bulk, what I would do was put the shutters behind this little main portion here, and then the window frame on the top. But as you can see here, it doesn't give the best finish because it just looks like it's in the way and it's a mistake. So this time I'm going to put it on the reverse. So I'm actually going to hook the window frame to the reverse there. Granted, it's not going to be perfectly symmetrical, but it doesn't matter. And actually, it's much easier when it's closing if you've got a little bit of a gap there. So let's add some glue to the reverse. There we go. And we're just going to pop it so it more or less covers most of the elements that you've got in your card. And again, you know, do leave this to dry because you're going to have a lot of opening and folding. You do need to make sure that you've got really good adherence. So give it a press. So that's the first bit, like that. Now the second part is we're going to pop the shutters on. Now exactly the same. So put a little bit more glue. I mean, by all means, use red liner tape, whatever you have to hand. Red liner tape is probably going to give a really strong grip, so you might want to use that. Okay, so I'm going to put that over like that. And again, make sure it's snugly fitting on the back. And we're going to do it with the other side. Just make sure you get the right part, that you don't stick it on the outside part. It's going to be on the inner part because we're going to be sticking it like that. So it's just worth having a little think first about where you're putting your glue. So pop that on like that. Try and line it up so that you've got the shutters in the right place. Now, obviously, you've got a little bit more height with this because you've got 2 layers of cardstock that you're sticking together, but just give it a real good push together and we should be okay. So you see our card is really starting to come together now. Now all we need to do is start to think about the details that we're going to put on. Now I wouldn't stick it down right now because I want to fiddle around with it and put the extra little bits and bobs in. So we're going to open it up, and again, don't do this while before it's dried. You know, do give it a good bit of time to actually glue. Not like me. There we go. Behave. Okay, I've got glue all over the place. Right. There we go. Make sure we've not got glue coming up. So we're going to put the extra little details on. Let me find those. Now, we've got a little window box. That's one of the dies that comes with it. Let me move these out the way. And this is the perfect kit for using up little bits of cardstock that you've got lying around. You can use lots of little bits of pattern paper. I mean, you can really go to town. You can see here, I've just used some of the smaller dies that come with the kit. You can see these, the bird, the flower, the little pots. You've also got this if you wanted to create a more of a bushy effect. I mean, if you're thinking about things to do, you could create lots of these together and have the inside of the window with a big bouquet of flowers. There's tons that you can do. So we've got our little window box, so we need to position our flower pots. So let's just put a bit of glue on the back, and then we're going to put one at a slightly lower position than the other to try and give it a bit more dimension. So there's one, and then we'll put the other one so we can just see the little heart. Again, you can see I've been using small elements. There we go, so that's stuck on there. We'll add another little flower. Okay, so we've got our little bit of a flower box beginning to develop. Die cut a little bird. pop him on. And what you need to be careful with is that you have the window box so that it doesn't protrude past the actual window frame. Let me get the original window frame. So it needs to be cut down so it is slightly smaller, otherwise it's going to stop the shutters from folding properly. So if I just snip it down. In my original card, I was adding little details with gel pens. I mean, there's so much that you can do. Okay, that's going to be fine. So let's pop that on there like that. And I'm going to have it sticking slightly down. So just add a little bit of glue along the edge there. There we go. I just love this kit. It's so much fun. Okay, make sure it's straight. Now you can see there, what I've done is I've not positioned the bird correctly. I love how you can learn from my mistakes. Can you see his little tail is protruding? So that's going to slightly catch. I mean, I've just about got away with it, but it's worth, if you do this while it's in situ, the reason that I have been decorating it with the details last is for exactly this reason, because if you can see where your shutters are closing, it will give you an idea of which parts to avoid. So we now just want to add in the little bits of bunting. So let's just add a little bit of glue, and we're going to stick those. There we go. That's that one done. And that's that one done. So you can see it really is cute, and you can't really tell what's inside, which is the reason why I've done it, so that it's encouraging people to open it up and work out what's inside. Now we're going to want to put it onto our card. Now, in order, I had a look at it and I thought, well, we could have it like this and you could have it coming out of the envelope like this. But actually it's much nicer if you've got something to tie and keep it together. So what we need to do is add some elastic. So what I'm going to do is add some glue all over the back. And again, you know, use red liner tape, use whatever strong adhesive you have. Let's just put plenty on because we need to make sure that the elastic is really well secured. Okay, so I'm going to lay the elastic roughly where I want it to be. And then I'm just going to position. There we go. So pop that there, make sure it's nice and straight. And then all I would do is open it up gently and just press all on the bottom with your fingers to make sure that you've got a really good hold. Okay, so we've got, oops. Again, leave it all to dry and then you won't have this problem. So there we go, we're nearly at the end of our card. Now the last thing that I thought would be nice to go on is a little wreath. Now the wreath I've made, I've just used 2 little circle dies. Oops, there we go. 2 little circle dies, and then when you cut them out, you've got a wreath base. And then all I've done is I have just built up lots of the little hearts, added a little twine bow and some of the Red Berries Nouveau drops, and there you've got a really cute little wreath. So then you've got to decide what to do, whether you want to stick it with the elastic so that it's coming through and so that you tie it together like that, or whether you want to go over the top. Okay, I think I'm going to have it so that it comes through and you can tie in the middle. So I'm going to want to put that like that. Don't worry about this one. And I'm going to want to stick that over the elastic. So let me just get, and bear in mind that we only want to stick 1/2. If we stick the whole lot, then you're going to end up not being able to open it. So let's put it roughly where I want it to go. Okay. Give that a bit of a stick. Actually put glue too far around. So it only needs to go on the little part that's actually covering the shutter. Let's bring this a little bit. There we go, that's better. So just stick it down again, leave it to dry. I mean, if you wanted, you could put a sentiment on the bottom here. If you stick it to only one side or the other, then as it opens, there you are, you'll have the sentiment. I mean, what I'd probably do is have the wreath on this side and maybe the sentiment stuck onto this shutter. And then all we'd need to do is thread it through and then tie it up, and you'll end up with a really, really fun interactive card that people will love opening, because there's just something really lovely about trying to work out what's inside a card. So that's, and obviously trim the edges. You don't want your elastic to be too long. That is a really fun card created using the Tonic Craft Kit number 14. I hope you've enjoyed this. Do remember to post your creations, the ones that you've made with the craft kits. We love to see them. Tag Tonic and some of the design team, I'm sure, as well as the other Tonic crafting community, will comment, and we love being inspired by what you do. So don't forget to post on the Tonic Facebook group too. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back soon. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.